think just continue. Tell me what have you been up to since the last time kind of we talked. So you were saying
So
that you were working on the story. Uh, yeah,
yeah, so I've sort of finished roughing out the story,
yeah,
just in general,
yeah,
and trying to get all the players in, trying to get all the references in, and like the central plot points in that you've mentioned too,
yeah.
um, like having the scientists and so on,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
also having mech suits be a large part of it, and just getting all the central themes in basically. And then I've just started going from the top, um, like um, visualizing individual scenes,
yeah,
but visualizing in my head, but like writing it out.
yeah,
Um, as I mentioned, I did start on some sketches, but then came to a point where I'm like, no, I've been working in concept art for too long. I haven't really been doing any kind of, I haven't been reading comics. I haven't been
yeah, yeah.
working in that kind of comic book style in absolute years. So I was like, and kind of started um, uh, looking into more reference points to nail down an aesthetic. And originally I was envisioning it more in a like manga type of style.
Really?
Yeah, because to be perfectly honest, mangas are usually black and white, and it's
Yeah,
just easier, right?
yeah. Well, it's
It
meant for
like
like
turnaround.
long stories and like where they gotta churn out a bunch of. Yeah, it's just lower quality, I think.
Yeah, turnaround is much faster, and
Yeah,
but they are focused on telling, like as you just said, like a massive narrative
yeah,
over like 65 265 volumes or
yeah,
something,
yeah,
and which
yeah.
is not what we're doing.
Yeah, so it's a much like quicker style. Yeah, because like a comic book, each issue of a comic book is like very few pages actually. We're talking like 20 pages, something like that.
Right.
And yeah, because it's much more invested in the visual medium.
Yeah, the thing I've been writing out, and because the problem about this project for me is that the central themes are very abstract. The central message is very abstract too. It can't be too close to the current narrative
I wanted to
because it
push
will
that.
just
I
become a
believe that
parody.
it can.
Yeah, but if it's too close, it will just become a parody of it.
Well, I mean, it wouldn't be a, it wouldn't be written as a parody. It'd be written very seriously, as
Yeah,
a
but it
comic
will
book,
be
as like
seen
it would be
as a
not a
parody.
parody, but like a dramatization is what it would be, because that's what
Yeah, but like
comic books do. They
yeah, but
make
like
things
a
more
serious
yeah,
yeah, but comic books they might be shorter in the individual issues
yeah,
than mangas, but they are also concentrated on building a huge world, a
yeah,
universe
yeah.
over
Very few.
hundreds and hundreds of issues because they need to get the regular readers in. They need regular customers.
But you know what's
Um,
really
business.
amazing? Yeah, I'm sorry, I interrupted. Go ahead.
And so I'm leaning more towards graphic novels and having a on the like normal just pages, having a style closer to like Western comic books, like colored art, and but also having inserts in there with even higher art quality.
Okay.
and getting something together that is visually interesting enough so to engage um, a possible audience um, without leaning too much on the current goings on, because it needs, as I said, it needs to be um, it needs to walk the line between being recognizable as a mirror image of the current situation, but it also needs to be removed enough. Otherwise, it like a message can't be transported in that way if it's just seen as a parody.
What do you mean by parody? Do you mean it in the sense that it's like making fun of it or making light of it?
It's so the thing is it doesn't it stops being an interesting story. It's just maybe parody is the wrong word. It just becomes
okay.
social commentary.
Yeah.
And social commentary, when it just stops at social commentary without making it into a story that transcends it, sort of loses the kind of narrative power that a story has, because it's just commenting on current events. And so it's kind of it's
Well,
difficult balancing act, I would say.
I agree with you in some senses that the first part of the story, for instance, like my version of the story is modeled off of this concept that it is something, the key, the magic, the work will have to go into the act of making a universe that can mirror everything important that is going on in this pandemic. And so a lot of thought has to be put into just creating the right universe before the story can even unfold. Something that can has the potential to mirror all these issues. But the key, if you remember, was first to mirror, honestly, the first 2 innings of a 9-inning game. Like, we're in the second inning of this. People think that like we're like 80% through this pandemic. No, we're like in the second inning of this pandemic, and it feels like forever already. But this shit is going to be with us for at least a year, and probably forever, because it'll just stay endemic in places like Africa where there's still polio, right?
So that's I've also been keeping like a close eye on the news.
Right, me too. So they're saying that they're saying that it could stay throughout forever. You know?
Oh yeah, like a vaccine is becoming more unlikely, is what I've gathered.
No, that's not true. It's just that I think, just coming from a science background, what they're trying to say is that it's not like that the chances of getting the vaccine are becoming unlikelier. It's that the media has really kind of put this idea in people's heads that we will definitely get a vaccine, and then any scientist is going to push back on this and say, yeah, that's not guaranteed, and we need to just make sure that's out there. And especially because we have never created a vaccine for a coronavirus yet. Like, we've created vaccines for influenza viruses, but we don't have a vaccine for SARS. We don't have a vaccine for MERS.
So yes, like from what I understand is because it is a novel virus.
Yeah.
Efforts to
Okay, so let me just.
Companies are spending like huge amounts of money on like research programs and stuff to like produce a vaccine to at least but a vaccine is like a temporary band-aid measure because we've never been affected a virus of this kind before. So there is no way of knowing in what kind of form it will return, or if we will be able to develop a effective vaccine like we did with some other illnesses that have plagued society. So is what I understand.
So let me just ask you a question, because this will actually help me a lot. Do you think... I don't know how to phrase this. Do you think it's clear to people that there's different classes of viruses?
Oh, no.
It's not, right? So to you, is that clear?
I mean, it's in a vague way.
Yeah. Just like there's, yeah.
And but in the sort of vague way where I accept that human beings can't understand, me included, every aspect of science that affects my life. So
yeah, exactly.
The issue is vague, but
yeah.
possibly, even though it is very vague, I would venture a guess and say that it is more refined than the average American understanding.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you're educated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, of biology, or
Yeah, so let me just explain real quick. So there's different types of virus that look completely different, right?
Right.
I guess I'm actually starting to realize that people don't understand this. And an influenza virus, flu viruses, they look way different from coronaviruses. And adenovirus, like, they all look different. They're all
Right.
different. I won't even say species, but they're all different. There's just types of viruses, and within each type there's different names, there's different strains of viruses within each type.
Right.
But the thing is, within the type coronavirus is actually the name of the class, the type of the type of virus it is. Within that class of coronaviruses, COVID-19 is the one we're talking about. And SARS and MERS and the common cold are all different strains of coronaviruses.
Right.
And the thing is that we've created vaccines for influenza viruses. And I think maybe people think that because we've created a vaccine for a flu virus, that it's inevitable that we would create a vaccine for a coronavirus. But that's not true. And that's the really scary thing, is that we have never, as far as I know, and I need to confirm this, we do not have a vaccine for any coronavirus at this point. Like SARS is a coronavirus, MERS is a coronavirus. We don't have vaccines for that. So there's no proof of concept that we even have a mechanism to stop a coronavirus. Right. Which is not true of influenza. Like, we know that we've created vaccines for influenza viruses. So I'm pretty sure if a new influenza virus came, we would be able to create a vaccine eventually. But coronaviruses, it's not like that. It's not like just because we've created a vaccine for a flu virus that we'll eventually just create a vaccine for a coronavirus. It's not like that at all. And so I think they're trying to get this message out that we can't just bank everything on getting a vaccine. I think it'll happen because everyone in the world is working on it, which is not true of SARS or MERS or any other viruses.
Yeah.
But so,
yeah, that's what I was thinking was, like, a vaccine is going to come out just because everyone's investing in it. Everyone. They have a lot riding on creating a vaccine because it has put the economy into a fucking shithole.
Yeah. Get that, but we don't have a cure for cancer yet. And a lot of people have been working on that.
We don't have a cure for the common cold either.
Yeah, because it's not like, people aren't working on that. But
Yeah,
they're the
people aren't working on it, so it's like, but like with the common cold or like even with the flu, it's like if a new strain pops up, we develop a vaccine, but
yeah,
it's like sure, like
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. We do.
it's not a definitive cure for the flu. For instance, it relies on herd immunity.
No, it is, but there's just so many strains. So
Right,
so so the flu vaccine is just a concoction of a bunch of types of flus that are running out there, and they kind of do tests on this every year to figure out, oh, these are the big flus that seem to be the ones that are going to be prominent this year. And that
right,
flu vaccine is, I think, basically they just like break up, they just take a bunch of those flu viruses, the ones they want to protect for, and they just kind of like break them up into viral fragments and then inject them into your body. And that stuff is, and then your immune cells recognize and then attack, and so they're trained, but they're only trained on the top kind of X strains of flu that are going around. But you may
right.
catch like some other flu virus, and that's why you get the flu. And yes, it's also true that vaccines are not 100% like effective. Like there's a chance you get a vaccine and it's for a certain strain and you still get
Because
that strain.
yeah, it relies on the individual immune system of the person being vaccinated and also relies on herd immunity to be effective in a sense, right?
No, the herd immunity, like if you have a vaccine, if you get your vaccine, most people are 100% immune. Okay, like to that strain. I don't actually know about 100%, but it's very high, right? It's like you get the chickenpox
Right.
like vaccine, you're not getting chickenpox. You know, like they can like flood you with a bunch of chickenpox and your body will just take care of it. And and so herd immunity is, it's really important only because there's certain people who cannot get vaccines, like immune compromised people. They are not able to get vaccines because they're immune compromised, and injecting even weakened viruses into your body can turn into like a full blown like disease for them because their immune system is
Right.
so weak.
But
So they
that's
can't.
why herd immunity is
That's why herd immunity is important.
important to a vaccine's success, isn't it?
They want that, yes, but the vaccine in general should protect the person who gets the vaccine, regardless of whether everyone around them is sick or not. You know,
No, but I'm not talking about individual effectiveness. A vaccine
if they're
doesn't
talking
mean
about
it for
eradication,
anyone. About like the wider effect of
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah, as in
vaccination
containing an
is what
outbreak.
I'm talking about.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's important for containing any outbreak, any
Right,
like, so that's why it's important to keep people, yeah, vaccinated from measles and shit, right? Because
right,
it's like that's what keeps measles from coming back and killing us,
right.
you know?
And
Yeah.
the thing about this current situation is also that misinformation and conspiracy theories are so widespread that even if a vaccine comes out, a lot of people are just going to refuse it.
Yeah, I know.
I think anti-vaxxers are going to have a field day once this thing comes out.
Yeah, you know,
And even
I thought this would destroy the anti-vaxxers, and it hasn't. It's insane, right?
no, of course not.
Yeah.
Like you will
That's
never
what I mean.
destroy true believers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. This is the greater disease that has
Mm,
affected our species, is the disease of misinformation, and then also just it all comes from an ego thing. It all comes from wanting to believe that you're special, that you know something over somebody
and
else, that
yeah,
you
and just
know you're in the know, and it's all
yeah,
based on
but
that.
yeah, we've talked about this last time
Yeah,
too. But
yeah.
it's like it's also about just confusion and fear, because it's more comforting to think that someone is in control.
Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Than
Yeah, it is
accepting
the, but
that
see, that all goes back to the
they're in
ego.
control.
That's the
Yeah.
thing. It's like if anyone, the ego is what gets afraid that it doesn't know what's going on. And so it's the thing that invents a reality where it does know what's going on. It's weak, you know? And it's the one that wants to think that it's so smart that it knows something above everyone else, because that's what the ego wants to do. It wants to feel good about itself. And
And good about humanity by thinking
no, it
that.
doesn't. It doesn't want to feel good about humanity.
No, but the thing is, like, people who are engaged in conspiracy theories are like the ones like saying that like a higher power is all planning this out and like created this thing in a laboratory and so on and so forth. They are putting an enormous amount of faith in humanity, that humanity is controlled. They want to feel good,
Yeah.
in a way that because making this thing someone or an institution's fault will give humanity incredible amount of agency and power in the situation. It's not about just feeling powerful individually. They want to feel powerful as humanity, instead of accepting the reality that it's just shit happens. It's what nature does, and that anything humans can come up with is completely futile and meaningless in the grand scheme of things. And because that's the kind of reality, like you always say, like the brain is trying to avoid.
Yeah, let me see if I can paraphrase what you're saying. So, are you saying that it's like these people who believe in these conspiracy theories, people who believe in cults, it's like it is a way for them to feel like they understand an absurd world, a world that doesn't make sense, and
Yes.
or they don't understand how it works. So this notion of they don't understand how something works is just anathema to the ego, because it's scary. It's scary to not know.
So yes,
So
because like
so they
conspiracy.
invent or
Right.
they subscribe to a belief where it tells them that at least this is what explains it, you know? Or
Right.
and that doesn't have to be real. It's not based on rationality. Nothing that the ego does needs to be based on reality. It just seems to want to feel good about itself.
Yes.
Feel good about itself and feel good that it knows what's going on, right? Because that's what
Right.
the brain, the ego was evolved to do. Like it I don't know if we talked about this at some point, but like there's this guy Carl Friston who is like a neurobiologist, and his whole thesis, which I really am starting to understand, is that anything that any brain does is it what does it do? It reduces unpredictability, or it strives for predictability. It strives to predict what's going on. Like all the brain
Right.
evolved to do was, in the beginning, all we did was react. When we like happened upon some food, then we got lucky. But like then this brain evolved that says, well, if I can predict where food is going to be and then move myself to that point, then I'm going to get more food. And then that was what was selected. And if I can figure out like how to get sex, like if I can be smart about it, if I can predict what a female is going to do, and like get whatever they want, and then like all this thing is about predicting how something is going to work out in the future and then preparing for that future, and doing
Right.
that's pretty much what all brains do. It rewards for understanding or being able to predict the world. That's what the brain is trying to do. And that desire is what causes people to get involved in these conspiracy theories, because
And
it's this easy way to tell them, "Oh, I understand what's going on. I can predict what's going on."
yeah, but yeah, conspiracy theories and all other human activities that are intrinsically linked to a belief system, like religion or even science.
And even
It,
science is just another one of those things where you can subscribe to that.
right,
Whatever makes it's not based on rational or irrational. It's just based on whatever explains the thing that your ego can just wrap its head around. Be like, oh, that makes
right,
sense. I it's more like a feeling. It's like, oh, when people talk about anti-vax stuff, I feel like this is right. And then all the rational thoughts follow that feeling. It's like once they've already decided to be anti-vaxxers, then
right. Or
it's very
flat earthing.
easy to come up with some evidence for it, right?
Oh yeah.
That's the trap. That's like been conspiracy
Oh
theory
god.
101 is like
Oh
you
god, yeah.
yeah.
I finally watched like a flat earther
Oh, right.
documentary as
Okay.
well.
Yeah.
It literally, it like I had like on the one hand, because it's so harmless, because those people are so harmless,
Mhm.
that kind of mindset and the realistic like effect to other people of that belief is so abstract and harmless that you can
Yeah.
just in kind of enjoy it in a weird way. You're like, oh my, watching a nature documentary that shows like an like a lion eating a zebra, like on the other side of the world. I can enjoy it in like flat earthers in the same way
Mm.
up to a certain point. But there were literally moments where I was like, this is physically hurting my brain.
Yeah, yeah.
It
Yeah.
physically is painful to watch, like it is painful to listen to some of my coworkers at my workplace.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
bloody
Yeah.
hell. Like,
Yeah.
it's graduated into not only Bill Gates being the baddie, into Bill Gates being a transsexual for some reason.
Yeah. All right, so
Yeah.
we got off on a tangent there. So yeah, there's one point that I wanted to make was that I do not believe that that mirroring what's going on is going to be seen as like too as a parody. I don't think you meant parody, but but that it's going to be too on the nose. That it'll be just like a on one kind of like mirror of like what's going on. Like I don't see that. I think that's what I think is very radical about this idea is to make it so fucking completely one-on-one mirroring because nobody does that, you know. And
Right.
the thing is, the key is that we are only in the second inning of this. We can only do a social commentary on 2 innings worth of things where it will
Right.
mirror everything. But the whole point of it, the whole point of this whole graphic novel idea is to bring people out of a ego-based like tree in a forest type view of this pandemic, transport them to a story where they don't know that it mirrors everything, and then they get wrapped up in the story and they're able to see the pandemic because that it's so one-on-one mirroring. They get to see it from a point of view that is not their own, from a third person omniscient point of view. And the key, the point of all that, the point of setting up the reader to have that type of viewpoint is to paint a picture of how the next 7 innings could go if we got our shit together. You know? That was the point of all of this.
Right.
Is to get people out of their own egos and to paint a picture of a future that was possible. A future that is possible if we get our shit together. Because I think that's what's missing, is that sometimes it's not so important. That's what the story is all about. When we're talking about maybe it's important to do a story, is because it just transports you out of your own body for a while. And then if you get wrapped up in the story, then suddenly all you're like, oh, I hate Democrats, and that doesn't factor into anything anymore. Like, not while you're transported in a story.
Yes,
And
and the thing is, like, I wasn't flat out disagreeing with you. I was just stating that it's something that I've been thinking about because it is a fine line to walk. Because, as I said, if it becomes a flat out one-to-one social commentary, then it stops being a story. So you kind of, so it's hard to get immersed into a story about that is so close to your real life, and you are immersed in your real life, IRL, in a real way. So the story does have to be slightly removed from reality to be accepted as a story,
right,
so that
right.
the reader can immerse themselves. And I was just trying to point that out and lead into, so I have been writing a classic 3-chapter arc of a story, and now I'm focusing on the first chapter, which is focusing on loosely mirroring the broad strokes of what's been going on, basically.
Okay.
Right?
Okay. Yeah, so let's get into it. So just give me the
Right.
quick I haven't read most of what you've written, like the new stuff. So
Right.
give me a quick synopsis of the whole story that you have right now.
So the synopsis is that there is an outbreak
Of?
of like we discussed, it's something that destabilizes people at first, but then manifests itself in like a more deadly way. But mostly right now, I've written it in a way where people are mostly either like people are mostly seem to be disappearing. It starts out very small, right?
Okay.
And then let's see, chapter number C2. Yeah, but then they start. It starts spreading more aggressively, and they realize it is a threat that is eating away at the population, and some groups resort to drastic measures, and they try to contain it, but fail. There's a scene in there where I've tried to sort of illustrate um, why humans are sort of I guess they were never meant to succeed in dealing with this kind of situation, because the central mechanic of the virus spreading is
It's a virus. Is this a virus? What is
so
the thing?
it spreads in a virus-like way. We were talking about a deep sea origin, and I've gone with a deep sea origin. So it starts at the coast and moves inland. Right?
Okay. So the reader doesn't know who the enemy is right now, or is
No.
that they don't know what this is? It's not.
They are not going to know what this is until chapter 2, end of chapter 2, or at some point in chapter 3.
Okay. So what is your idea of what this is? Like, even though we're not, you're not explaining it to the reader yet. What are we talking about? Who's the enemy?
So I am kind of on the fence between making it into an alien force, or making making it into something that is actually the negative of what your scientists discover in that subplot. Because the scientists are discovering something that will give humans an edge, basically. So they're finding a positive, but so to set it as the naturally occurring negative of that positive, basically.
Okay.
If that makes sense to you.
Yeah. No, I mean, I don't. Like, give me an example. It's too abstract for me. So it's like, so it's the negative of. It's too abstract for me. I don't know what that means. I guess.
So let's say so. Since we were talking about deep sea origins, I've set the scientists into the deep sea as well.
Yeah.
And which I actually found, because since the story is taking place on Earth, it helps. It like the deep sea origin does help to make sense of the American setting. That the story, majority of the story takes place in America. Because America, the west coast of America, is facing an ocean that has the deepest trenches on the entire planet.
Okay.
So deep sea exploration, being related to a deep sea origin does make sense in a realistic kind of way. So it's easier to make that narrative make more sense as well. But so they are, the scientists are at the bottom of the ocean, and they're sent in on an expedition to find basically something that's related to like the origin of life, basically. Let's say it's what the scientists are looking for and ultimately discover is a positive, like, life force, and the negative of that would be death, as a broad example.
Okay. What? So, I guess just hit me with like your kind of synopsis, like if you're to say this is the story in, I don't know, like a minute. As in, I don't know, I haven't read it, so if you could just like summarize like what the story is so far. Like with, yeah, because like, yeah, just not so much details, I guess. Just like,
Okay, so we're in a kind of dystopian
okay,
parallel reality future of Earth that experiences an outbreak and has to overcome this new challenge, this new enemy, by realigning with estranged parts of their own society.
Okay.
And eventually manage to overcome the challenge, or kill the enemy, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Talk to me about, yeah, just anything, like, what are your thoughts? Anything like cool, like scenes that you can visualize? Anything you kind of want to share? Anything like exciting, like, like, okay, this is how I want to show this.
So I put a couple of scenes in the context that you wanted to have in the story, like the first person view.
Okay.
of like the thing infecting another person. Um, Also, like I have a scene with an army of basically like a giant mechs. Because I put that into this I've told you that I put them into context as like basically trash haulers,
Right.
because the lower class community outside of the city basically is dependent on a steady stream of scrap and trash from the city,
Yeah.
and the giant mechs or robots, one, help them um, deal with the massive amount of scrap that is being produced of a colony of 100 million.
Yeah.
But also is protecting people from a very, very harsh environment, because this is kind of reality where global warming has reached its consequences, and we have lost. So
Yeah.
uh, there's a train on like a mag track running from the colony to the outside world in regular intervals that are like loosely communicated, and basically sizable army of mechs um, are stationed at a scrapyard, waiting to unload the thing. The train is also the mechanism actually that spreads the virus from the outside world, from the coast into the colony.
Okay. So there's like a train that goes in, yeah, to the two worlds. Why is it unsafe outside? And is it like a biosphere?
It's heavily polluted and harsh desert environment.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, how you feeling about it? How you feeling about the story? Yeah, what are your thoughts? Kind of like
I'm
a
actually feeling pretty good at this point. For me, it's coming together at a like the story is coming together at a good pace. I think I've managed to write about like like 12, 12 scenes. Did I actually write 12 scenes, or did I just put the number on there? Yeah, I would
yeah.
say, like,
See,
I'm
scene
not
10.
happy with two. I'm not 100% on two scenes that I've written at 4 a.m. So,
Okay.
but on like 10 scenes, like mirroring what has happened in reality, and trying to like introduce all the characters, all the players that are going to be involved in that. And that is actually um, going faster than I was anticipating. I actually thought I would be doing this kind of detail work at a later point,
Yeah,
but
I'm afraid.
since
Yeah.
I've gotten more into it, I just kind of went with it, because uh, the broad story and the world setting is going to have a massive effect on the overall aesthetic as well. So, like, the visuals are there to assist central narrative, and that takes place in a certain type of world. And if that world isn't established, then uh, like starting to churn out artwork, which takes a lot of time, just becomes kind of redundant, I would say. And since writing had been going well, I sort of went with it and just kept writing. And so I'm feeling I'm feeling like I'm at a good point with it. The thing is, what I could really use is your opinion on how it is going, based on what I've written. Do you have access to the document, by
Yeah,
the
yeah,
way?
I have it up. I have it up. I just, yeah, I haven't read the new stuff. Uh, so I was hoping that you could just, give me a synopsis of it. I see. That's the thing. I can't really give you much feedback because
Yeah, but the thing
I don't
is,
even know
like,
what the story is right now.
yeah, but the story in broad, if you want the story in broad strokes, it's just going to be the story that you've told me to work on, basically, isn't it?
What, you mean the sci-fi one? You mean the one that's
Like
the planets and
yeah,
the
yeah, the planets in the but it's the same story, just in my version of a world setting, but it tells the same story.
Okay, yeah, I know. I was just hoping that you could tell me the story because I can't comment on it because I don't know what the story is yet. I'm sorry, I didn't read it, and like, yeah, I was just hoping you could give me like a 1 minute, like, okay, here's the story, this is what happens, and then this is they fight the bad guy in the end, and it's because it's just the story arc, it's like the heroes, they get hurt by the thing, they can't figure out how to do this, and then they figure that shit out, and then they get beat up for a while, like this and this, and then this is how it kind of, yeah, I know, like, I just don't know the story. Like I kind of know, like, from the first time that it's like there's these mechs, trash hauling mechs, and there's some sort of pollution or some sort of problem outside. They can't go outside. It's gonna be a lot of like kind of like paranoia was gonna be part of it, and yeah, that's pretty much what I know right now.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. Like maybe that's not like super fleshed out yet. So that's that's fine. Um.
Okay, so it is. I did flesh it out in about 30 pages now.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just I don't know. Giving a 1 minute summary of it is something that I might just work on a summary and
Yeah.
send you a message or something.
Yeah. I guess. Yeah. That's fine. I guess I just can't talk about it, as in like I can't give any feedback. That's all.
Right.
I wanted to have like a dialogue about it, but yeah, I didn't. I don't know what the story is. Yeah, that's my problem. That's all.
Maybe we should switch gears and how about you write a story and I draw it?
Yeah. Yeah. Like the story that I was talking about last time.
Right. How about because you have an idea of your own story, so how about you write, you provide me with a script, and I basically draw it out in a comic book.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that was an option. I'm just not super sold on the comic book. I think I kind of mentioned that last time. It was like I just don't. I think it's cool, but it's like I think it's like way too much work to get done in a time where it matters, you know. And so, like, I was hoping you could just pitch it to me. It's like pitch it to me. I think, and the thing is like it already seems like a lot of work.
It, yes.
Yeah. So it's like I'm not so sure that we should do it. Like I don't even know if we should do like not it's not my idea or your idea. I'm not sure it's even feasible to do. Cuz like I said, like honestly the real point of all this shit is to try to affect some change in the way we are handling
How
this.
are you? I don't understand the kind of thinking. How do you want to make change without taking on massive amounts of work? Like
Yeah,
how?
I'm willing to work on it. I don't think it's like something I like I said last time, I think it's something you need a team for. And to assemble like people and to coordinate all this is going to take a long time. Like I said, the timeline of this pandemic is probably a year like from now
Right.
is probably when, like
So
yeah, it's going to keep
yeah.
affecting us for that long. But
Yeah,
it's
because
mhm.
so it's a huge scale. It's something that has to lead up to a huge scale, long-term goal, and I think in that kind of perspective, trying to write a comic is a very small amount of work to put in if
Yeah.
that is the goal.
Yeah.
Because you can't get people together without having put in work
Okay.
already.
Well, so I thought I just kind of like you have a better idea of like a timeline. I think you were trying to work on that. Like, okay, this is how we can get it done. This is, it's like this is going to take this much work so that because like if this gets done in January, then it doesn't really matter, you know?
Right, so we talked about a timeline of around end of September, right?
I know, but is it feasible? I think that's what I was trying to get an answer to this like tonight was like is it even feasible to do that? Because I
I'm
mean,
working
we
towards
can
it
all
right
just
now.
say like, oh, we can get it done by July, but it's like, I don't know if we can, you know. So it's
I
more
don't
it's
think we could get.
yeah
So the thing is, like, I don't think it can be done by July. I do think it can be done by late September.
yeah okay. So just explain that to me because like I don't know the process, and so it's yeah
Establishing a storyline, writing a script, establishing an aesthetic,
right yeah
picking the design, and then sketch it out,
yeah
draw it
yeah.
out, color it, work the text in it, and that's the process.
So how long does that all take?
I'm working towards end of September,
Okay yeah um
as we discussed.
okay, so I just want to explain. I think we're on different pages. So let me
Oh,
just backtrack. Yeah. So I'm not super sold that we should even do this. I think
okay,
that's the reservation I had last time, or even when
right,
we before actually you before we even kind of even talked last time was like I had this idea like overnight for this idea of a story that ended up more like a comic book, a graphic novel.
right.
That's the story I explained to you. And then, we kind of both got excited about the idea. But I was like, but wait a minute. Like, I don't think that's feasible. Because, like, the whole point of this project is not just to do art, and it is to try to affect some sort of change, or try to get people to think in a different way. And
Right.
And so my question, the reason I questioned my own idea of this comic book on I think the night that I had it, I was like, "Hey, I have this really great idea," and I kind of explained it to you, and then I sent like an email like in 3 in the morning as I've been thinking about it all night. I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know if it's, I like this is too much. Like it's like it's a pipe dream, you know? It's not a pipe dream, but it's like it just doesn't fit in the timeline. That's what it was to me. It's like, oh, this would be really cool. I think it would be really cool, but it would take like a year to do, you know? And so I was like, okay, well then I don't want to work on that because it doesn't make any changes. Because, like I said, this pandemic hopefully will largely be over in a year, you know? And
Right.
so something that comes out a year from now doesn't it's cool, but it's like it may have already lost its relevance, you know, at that point. And so to me, I just wanted to explore this idea so that we can make a decision on whether it's feasible to do, regardless of whether it's cool or not, you know? Because I was on the page that, yeah, it sounds really fun and cool, but it's like, is it even possible to do in a time where it matters? Right? That's where I'm coming at this from.
So, okay, the point what I'm at a similar point, but my fundamental attitude is if you really want to change something, you have to make it possible. It is not about thinking, um, is this going to be like possible? It's about
Yeah.
making it possible no matter what.
Well, that's
Otherwise,
whether that's if
no change will ever come.
I agree. It's like it's just my question. What I question is not whether we should do something. It's just whether that's the best use of the time.
Okay,
And so
so
that's
what do
what
you think
I'm not
is
super
going?
convinced. I was
Okay,
more
so what do
pessimistic
you?
about this than you were. You
Okay,
know.
so what do you think is going to be the best use of time?
Well, then if we're at that point, then yeah, I have to think about that because right now is what I thought we were doing was we were just exploring this idea to the point where it's
Right.
like, okay, is this possible to do? And then, yeah, that's that. I thought is where we were going with this.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, and so if we're back to what's the best thing to do given the time, I've got to think about that. I've been working on the website. I think that's a very important thing to do. I don't know, like there's the art thing, but yeah, I'm not sure. It's like yeah, it's like the comic book idea was cool. Yeah, I just don't know. It's the best use of the time. I think I mentioned that last time, right?
Yes, you have.
Yeah.
But what is your plan?
I mean, honestly, originally it's like it was just to do tons of like art, like have like a certain style of art. I mean, that's what originally this started as. I mean, it was started
Right.
as me goddamn trying to make a mask out of homemade materials and to try to convince people to wear it, right? And doing the science was to create a mask, and how to get people to wear it was going to require art, in my opinion, which I'm not sold that that's like the only way to do it, but to me it was like a good way because what has to happen first is that people have to fucking feel something again instead of being numb and being absorbed with themselves. And I think art is a really good way to do that, is to get people to feel something different, you know? Move people, you know? And so that was the original reason. My plan was just
Right.
shoot from the hip. Like at that point, it just was an act of me just doing something, you know?
Yeah. And the thing about this is that we talked about a lot of ideas about like that's why like larger scale art like murals and stuff were on the table as well. But the oh and with the website as well, if it's really has to serve a purpose of convincing people to do something, then there needs to be certain structures in place.
Yeah. I
So
have an
there's
idea
a
for that.
mechanism of persuasion in that. And I've sent you my thoughts on it. I've sent you my ideas on it and how to make certain things possible.
Yeah.
And every single time I do it, it's considered to be too much work. And then
Oh, it's not. It wasn't. It was the website ideas weren't. It wasn't too much work. It was just. Yeah, it wasn't going to be about the rational argument, right? I mean, the key was to design a way where we can do emotional arguments. It was going to be about art. And it was going to be about. I mean, that's what I was saying. Not that it was hard work. It was like unfeasible. It was just.
So I thought in that context, writing a story, trying to make it into a fictional story, and making it comic book, which is very closely related to art, was a very good way to achieve that.
I agree.
And
Yeah, I mean that's why I had that idea. I got excited about it. Yeah, I did too. Yeah. I did, right? I mean, I sent you those emails like in the middle of the night.
Yes.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, and so I did get excited about it. It's just, as I have explained, it's like it's more than just about making a comic book or art. Like to me, like the reason I'm doing this is to try to affect some change, and so as much as I would like to do the comic book, I just was never. I haven't been convinced ever since that very first night where I got excited about it, and then I was like, oh wait a minute, like this won't be finished in the time that it matters, you know. That's why I exit out. But then you got really excited about it, and so I was like, okay, I'm willing to like entertain the idea that maybe we can get it done, but
right.
I was just hoping you can convince me that it could, but like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if it's worth spending more time on. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Like I remember, like we first decided that you're gonna take a weekend to just kind of pitch it, and then after that weekend we could just kind of figure out whether to do it or not. I maybe that wasn't clear, or like that was kind of lost in the excitement of like getting into it. But I got really excited about the story. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but
we were each going to work on it separately.
Yeah.
And then
we're gonna try to pitch it to each other. That's kind of last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I gave you a rough outline of the story I had written.
Yeah.
And discussed it with you.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I think it was a good it's a good stab at it, and
yeah, I didn't get much more than the rough storyline from you, however.
No, I guess I was never very clear. It wasn't. I think I just wanted to know that we could get a story, like get a story that's like compelling. And then if we could, in this very limited amount of time, then maybe we can try to undertake this gargantuan task of getting it done in like 3 months or something. Right? But like I'm not super sold on a compelling story. And and so I guess I'm not sure that we could get it done either. Yeah. Or so that's why I was asking you. It's like, how are you feeling about this? Like.
I'm feeling pretty good, and I gave you my answer. I'm feeling pretty good about it.
Yeah.
The story is coming together. I think all the rough outlines are already there. I'm not at a point where I can give a 1-minute summation.
Yeah. Okay.
Because it's a 1-minute summation would just be being a broken record about it, because it's going to follow the broad strokes you already described to me.
Yeah, with
But
more details,
oh,
right? Just
what just happened? Oh
yeah.
shit. Um. Huh. Oh, sorry, my internet just went out.
Okay.
Uh.
Yeah.
So yeah, but
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
eh,
yeah.
okay. If you don't want to work on it, then that's fine. I'll just continue on the posters.
Yeah. I mean, for now. Yeah. Let me think more about what your question is, which is what is the best use of the time. Yeah.
Right.
Like I'm not super sure right now. Yeah. I haven't thought about that. I need to go high level and think about that some more. But yeah, I mean, work on the posters. Uh, yeah. Like if you want to write, like, like you said, like if you could just summarize it, real quick in a paragraph and send that to me, then we can kind of make, at least I have a better idea of kind of what you're thinking. But other than that, like, I just, maybe we switch gears right now. Yeah.
I mean, sure. I can summarize it. I'll send you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point, if you have the time
Yeah.
and want to look into the document, I'm gonna leave it
Yeah,
in the
yeah,
chat
totally,
folder.
totally. I'm sorry for not doing that.
Feel free to just look into it and decide for yourself if you find the story compelling or not, since the opening acts are already written now.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know. For now, I'll go back to the posters since I really don't know what else I could be
Yeah,
working on.
yeah, right. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, and I'll just continue posting updates on that on social media and stuff like that.
Cool.
And just let me know if you have any other ideas, and we'll see how things are doable, feasible,
Yeah. Okay.
and go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, let's do that. Cool.
Alrighty.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry for, yeah, maybe it's definitely my fault for like miscommunicating. But
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. I felt like this conversation was like a little bit more tense for some reason. But yeah, I don't mean any of that. It's fine. Let's just yeah. So I'm sorry if I came off really bad or anything like that. Didn't mean to.
No, that's totally fine.
Yeah, yeah. Cool. Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
Alrighty. I'll just send you a summary, and you'll keep me posted on what your plans are
Yeah.
for the project.
Cool. Cool. Yeah. Let me think about it. Yeah. Cool.
Good.
All right. Cool. All right. Yeah. I mean, it's a good session. Yeah.
Alrighty.
Cool. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Talk soon.
Okay. Okay. Bye.
Have a good night.
You too. All right, guys. See you later.